So if you can reincarnate in the past as well as the future, how does that work? I recently read a post of where someone claimed to reincarnate in the past, and I am confused about how that works. Could it be people who predict the future are simply just souls who lived in the future in a past life? See, and what if we are reincarnated into parallel universes? For example, could you born on in the 1940s, but World War II never happens? So because I think just because you could be born in the past does not mean you necessarily will be born in the same timeline as your past life, and even if it was say in the future too, it might be different because things might not have happened in that timeline. So it makes me wonder a bit WHST if reincarnation is just parallel universes. And see, the thing to this Earth is in 2024, but another Earth might be in 1940. So you could even go to an Earth where the timeline is completely different.
For sure you can reincarnate in a past historic period. But would you really want to? We live in a time with many modern conveniences, like faster travel, indoor plumbing, and all that. Would you really want to go back to a time when you lived in a log cabin and had to go outside to take a shit in the middle of winter? You can do that if there is an important person you need to be with. Then, you add the wrinkle of incarnating in different alternate timelines. That is another whole can of worms, and you don't need to do that. You probably have a concurrent incarnation living in that alternate reality. My wife has had many of her concurrents die off in other more extreme parallels, and then they merge with her, and many are often very sick, so they bring many minor ailments with them. I don't think many of mine do that because I basically tell them, I'm off limits. There was a recent TV series that touched on that subject, Dark Matter. Try watching that series to learn about parallel universes.
To answering this question we need to ask this: does the time relates to our soul or does it relates to our world? The more plausible theory is that the time is a property of this physical world. So even if our soul can overcome the time in here, the physical world cannot handle it. I guess in other side/main world there is nothing as time. That's why we can connect to something over there called Akashic Records to see past and the future. About parallel universes, I was searching for parallel universes through my experiences and research of others, but I couldn't find any plausible evidence for it.
The past and future are all free game for exploring and reincarnating into, as we don't have much true defined history and all have access to these times/periods/eras/ages through our timelines, history, media, and literature. As well as we imagine, visualize and picture different futures, yet all range from AI, Star Wars and World War Z as we live day by day together and mutually come to terms with our global future projects instead of a world where 8 billion people feel left out of the loop and only being used. That's why we prefer other timelines, as they give us a feeling of freedom, and yearning for this emotion sends us to places where we can freely experience and express it, as our history just gets summed up with world-changing events, key characters and wars. While our future is a mystery of people's predictions for such figures and events that we have subconsciously projected them all together, live them in our history and now confuse it with our present and events to come and people to rise amongst society and lead us all, together once and for all, now that we are in the present, the end times and the age that we say everyone is reincarnating and trying to be amongst. As we can move forward with a world where we end spiritual and religious wars for mutually preserving cultures, traditions and ways of life by having things available for people we never have before through resources we can use in the present and people with mindsets and purpose for action that come from all of space/time and are the heroes we need the most. God's fallen angels, even if they never met face to face, they are made in His image for a better world and are all here today on the earth, as many people just say they are the loudest. We can see men like Elon Musk trying to show how he has reincarnated down in the timeline to help is today from future problems we will never have. As many others have increased skill sets, awareness, glory or fame from incarnating into lives others already lived as themselves, while God claimed every single life and soul that ever was, is, or will be as His own, but just threw it all on the same trash heap that He rose from. Edit. Nobody gets it. It would mean we are free game to them too, and people die here, get reincarnated into future worlds, die there as they are unworthy of immortality, return to the present/prison where they collapse the system and ruin the lives of those who make the future utopias for everyone. Until we reach the end time/barrier of visions/predictions, and move on from the apocalypse mindsets and become the cutting-edge reality, or sword of truth together as a united species where no society, community, or people are left out of the loop as we choose to make progress together for once and not success against each other.